Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we're live on Love 99.5 FM and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Radio Freed in Nandom, Kekeli Radio in Ho, Kaliao FM in Akachi, Ganga FM in Jirapa, and KTU Radio in Koforidua. You can also listen live on your Spotify and myjoyonline.com app in this edition.
So, it's not good for government to pass this.
Levy should not be passed.
Because the 1.57 is too much.
Those with wholesale sellers, what do you call it? Small petty traders, they patronage this mobile money.
Mass opposition to introduction of the controversial e-levy as government insists it will pass the bill with or without the support of the NDC minority.
When Parliament resumes, as much as we are negotiating, we also want to send a clear signal that government will go ahead. The majority side is prepared to pass the e-levy.
We're live across the country for reactions from the Ghanaian public and also take you to the floor of Parliament where consideration of the controversial e-levy is conspicuously missing from business of the day.
Not on the other paper, and the majority leader will explain why it's not on the other paper. But it is not for any reason or a decision to back down or throw it away. No, as has been mentioned already.
We have details of that also this afternoon. Government set to pilot a 6-year secondary education structure that mirrors the Cambridge system from next year.
You're going to have schools that have libraries, that has biology, chemistry, and science lab, but they're junior high schools. You strengthen that, give them 3 years of quality secondary education, add it to the upper secondary or senior high, then you have 6-year quality secondary education.
We hear from Education Minister Dr. Yawose Aduchum. Government urged to sanction corrupt officials to serve as a deterrent as Corruption Perception Index reveals Ghana failed to make progress in the fight against the canker. I have details as government insists its fight against corruption is still on course.
So look at the curve as it goes over the period, and you can look at the graph. In whose administration was it coming down, in whose administration is it going up. It's not my data, it's their data. But the important thing is that this is just perception. Right.
And in sports.
President of Nigeria Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, has thrown his weight behind GFA President Kurt Okreko, saying that he loves Ghana. We have details in 20 minutes.
And much later, we'll head to Apiati in the western region where residents are still counting their loss. We'll tell you about a man who lost his 21-year-old son, a 10-bedroom house and a hospitality business.
My new house is a 10-bedroom self-contained.
10-bedroom?
Yeah, each room having its own washroom. I said to a lot of people that I wish I would have died. Yeah, because it wasn't easy for me at that particular moment.
Meanwhile, this afternoon, government has launched a fund to support victims of the explosion.
On the instructions of the President of the Republic, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has decided to launch the Apiety Support Fund.
We have that and more in this edition of the Midday News with me, Emefa Apo. Many thanks for choosing us. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please stay for details. Many thanks for your company. This afternoon, there's a nationwide opposition to government's introduction of the controversial 1.75% on electronic transactions, popularly referred to now as e-levy. Parliament is reconvening today after almost a month's break, with government giving a levy bill, which led to the free-for-all fight among MPs. But even before it is brought back to Parliament, there's a... Mano, what were the responses exactly to the poll?
So, yes or no? And out of a total of 3,000, yes. A couple of, comments under this particular poll. There's some reduction in their taxes. Why aren't we doing that, MFA?
Okay, so that's out from people and what exactly they think about this to us in terms of what exactly people have been telling you. We can hear from some of them that Rafik has been interacting with.
But the 1.57% is too much.
The vulnerable, the less resilient people, they patronage on out for them to put it there. But this mobile money transaction, so it's no good for government to pass this.
Levy should not be passed. As more hardship on the ordinary Ghanaian, considering the current economic situation
in the country and the current economic hardship.
Shanti region now, where my colleague Nanaya Ojima joins us, as some residents have expressed
amongst members of parliament at the floor of parliament over the controversial e-levy. Today they reconvened 75% e-levy.
1.75 now body rate now.
I'm hoping the percentage will be reduced to 1.0%. The e-levy would affect our business as mobile money vendors. People will be forced not to transact with us, and that will make us unemployed.
I remember a month when we moved from electronics and alcohol, the old system now air cash and carry. I remember you man be back from. One more I'm passing out. Me ma dwene no. Eba out one again. I'm passing out. Nemum say ye ba be gya tumu no so no. Say I'm passing out, I ain't into me. It's here, you to say, I'm passing out. No more passing out also. They
should pass it, but they should use it for its intended purpose.
Say, be a mason, this guy, not BBC and I'm not here free. So almost one of the year, your friends saying, a coin or money, Yatiabre. It's young for Saya Tiabre and Fabu and Cassette, or from pass out, or Mufambra, but we know you need a hope. I mean, we made say, say our parliament no more pay.
The e-levy won't help. Those at parliament fighting for its introduction know what they would gain from it. They are only going to dupe us.
If I be on say Ghana had no penny for on betting a castle, you perceive you see, Nazi you see, so Emma. Almost the background now, one more in ye.
If Parliament has carefully thought through the e-levy and thinks it would help us, they should pass it.
No moon says, almost the bar, a bad boy, and I say, into a motion. I didn't never come in group, no, normally at all. So I say,
While a number of people are calling for a reduction in the percentage of e-levy, however, if approved, they are hoping that these monies will be used for their intended purpose. From Kumasi for Joy News, Emmanuel Bright-Quake reporting.
So that's from the Ashanti region. Well, here in Accra, a group calling itself Justice for Ghana is currently picketing Parliament, demanding that the bill is thrown out altogether. Bernard Mona is convener of the group.
Well, this is not where we want to be. We had indicated to the Ghana Police Service that we are going to picket and occupy Parliament House. That is the notification we sent to the Ghana Police. Occupy Parliament House. We didn't say occupy outside Parliament House. And so they have received that notification. Yesterday, they called us for clarification and we indicated that we're coming to occupy Parliament House. Just as we started coming in, I was the first to get here at 8:30. The operations commander, Asante, of Greater Accra, had already taken a seat and locked the gates. And then I asked why they are locking the gate. And they said they will not allow us entry. I said, well, as for entry, we'll enter. And some of our members, whether you like it or not, are already inside.
They're already inside?
Oh, they are already inside. It's because we knew somehow that the police will come looking for us because we wear red, and berets.
That's Bernard Mona, a convener of the group calling itself Justice for Ghana. So in spite of this opposition largely, government insists it will go ahead and approve the e-levy, even without the support of the NDC minority. Dr. John Kuma is Deputy Finance Minister.
There's no problem with that. It's a democracy. We sometimes agree to disagree. The assurance we want to give on the part of the majority caucus is that we are equally determined that when Parliament resumes, as much as we are negotiating, we also want to send a clear signal that government will go ahead. The majority side is prepared to pass the e-levy.
Well, let me take you live to Parliament because we're all expecting that the e-levy would have made a showing today as Parliament resumes. But parliamentary correspondent Parker Wilson joins us on the line. Parker, so we know it's official that e-levy is not on the order paper today. Let's talk about the content and what reason has been given for it not showing.
And if I recall that last week the finance minister indicated that they were going to do some further consultation, go to your constituency and other constituencies to engage the individuals to have a better understanding of the impact of the e-levy. Well, we are told that is the reason the e-levy hasn't been advertised on the order paper today. I've been speaking to the Information Minister, Kojo Ponkoma.
The levy has already been approved by the Committee of Finance, and the report has been sent to the plenary. And as the Finance Minister mentioned, the expectation is that as plenary sittings resume from today, it will be up for consideration. Yes, you're right, it's not on the order paper, and the Majority Leader will explain why it's not on the order paper. But it is not for any reason or a decision to back down or throw it away. No, as has been mentioned already, the e-levy has been factored into all of the estimates that have already been approved and the appropriations that has been approved. What remains now is for us to consider the revenue bill associated with it, properly so-called. And my understanding is that the business committee will make a determination of when to program it for consideration by the plenary. But the leader will explain the details when he gets on the phone.
Well, has Parliament started, and has the leader given the reason why the e-levy is not on yet?
I mean, for Parliament is just to commend the proceedings for today. In fact, as I speak to you, the leadership of the House, in the minority and the majority leadership, are in a complete meeting at the moment. And so when they are done, they will return to the chamber for Parliament to kickstart with the meeting for the second session.
Well, now that the minority has seen the order paper, what have they been saying?
Question.
I'm asking what the minority's reaction has been so far.
No, the minority's reaction has been that they will kick against the e-levy. They will ensure that all the 137 MPs vote against it. And so, in fact, some are even alleging that government can even sneak in the bill under certificate of urgency, because in the last Parliament or the last meeting, that was the major source of controversy as to whether it should be considered under a certificate of urgency. So they're on the guard. They are waiting. Anytime they bring it, they'll make sure the 137 NDC MPs vote against it.
That's parliamentary correspondent Kwesi Parker-Wilson. We're getting ready for the premiering of that hotline documentary, Hang Parliament, a Curse or a Blessing to Ghana. You'd want to watch out for that. Now, let's turn our attention to the education front. And the sector minister, Dr. Yawose Aduchum, says government has started improving the various junior high schools to the standard of senior high schools to ensure seamless transition from one level to the other. The current system, which separates lower secondary from the upper part, was implemented following the education reforms in 1987. But speaking to Raymond Akwa in a yet-to-be-aired interview for Upfront, the minister said this separation is largely responsible for the poor state of junior high school education across the country, hence the decision to reverse starting with a pilot next year.
The middle school that used to be part of elementary was maintained. The infrastructure is what we use in operationalizing the lower secondary or junior high. And these schools don't have science lab, they don't have libraries. But we still insisted with a stroke of a pen that they are high schools. So when you talk about the president's vision for transformation, he wants to strengthen the lower secondary, ensure that it has similar facilities and support as high schools, even though it's community-based. So if you look at the new schools that we are looking at the lower secondary end, you're going to have schools that have libraries, that has biology, chemistry, and science lab, but they're junior high schools. You strengthen that, give them 3 years of quality secondary education, add it to the upper secondary or senior high, then you have 6-year quality secondary education.
When are we operationalizing this secondary structure? That's almost, and I see it at the back of your mind, almost taking us back to the Cambridge system. When are we operationalizing that?
Some of the facilities are currently under construction across the country. Some we have to cast salt for their construction. You saw the Accra STEM Academy. It goes from KG all the way to senior high school, so that has that built-in opportunity. And then we have new schools like Chamba that we are building, that is a lower secondary school. The high school that we are building in Busono, in Savannah, we include the lower secondary.
Education Minister Dr. Yahu Oseyeduchum. So the full interview is on Upfront on Wednesday at 6 o'clock on the Joy News channel, also on DSTV channel 421, Go TV 144, and all our social media platforms. You want to make a date with Raymond Aqua. Now, government is being urged to sanction corrupt officials to serve as a deterrent and make corruption a high-risk venture. This is a recommendation from Transparency International after it found that Ghana had failed to make progress in the fight against the graft. The nation maintained its score of 43, which was secured in the year 2020 as well. There's more in the latest Corruption Perception Index in the following report.
Ghana obtained 43 out of a possible score of 100. When compared to other sub-Saharan African countries, the nation placed 9th and 73rd globally. A trend analysis shows that Ghana has since 2017 failed to move beyond a score of 43. The nation scored 40 in 2017, 41 in 2018 and 2019, and 43 since 2020. Ghana's highest score of 48 was secured in 2014. Transparency International says anti-corruption agencies must operate independently from the executive to improve the trend. Citizens are also to be empowered to hold those in power to account. The report notes that there isn't enough commitment to sanction political corruption in recent years.
So that's excerpt there of the latest Corruption Perception Index there. Well, the Office of the Special Prosecutor in the last few minutes have been commenting on this latest ranking. Joseph Akable joins me in studio. What exactly has it been saying?
The office says that the ranking shows that corruption is and remains a serious and persistent problem. It assures that the Special Prosecutor is committed to making corruption a costly enterprise.
Okay. Well, government, meanwhile, says its fight against corruption is on course. Kojo Ponkrumah is Information Minister.
That has gone up 3 points since it's assumed the reins of power on the Corruption Perception Index is the one that is failing. That would be counter intuitive. If you look at the data from 2018 to 2020, Ghana has gone up 3 points. In 2019 and in 2021, there was no change. Ghana did not get worse. Ghana did not get better. But from 2017 till now, the evidence is that when Ghanaians are sampled consecutively on about 2 different occasions and adding up to 3 points upwards, Ghanaians believe that we are doing better in our fight against corruption. That's what the data says.
But if you're doing better, there should be a progression. You don't stagnate at some point.
No, the progression from 2017 is 1 plus 2, that is 3.
Right.
In the years 2019 and 2021, you did not see any specific change. It didn't get worse, it didn't get better. Just like in the year 2019, it didn't get worse, it didn't get better, but in 2020 it jumped up by 2. Okay. So look at the curve as it goes over the period, and you can look at the graph. In whose administration wasn't coming down, in whose administration is it going up? It's not my data, it's their data. But the important thing is that this is just perception. Right. I do understand that. I think the Shraj has announced that they will be doing a proper empirical survey, because there are those who argue about perception indices as a method of judging whether or not indeed the fact aligns with the perception. But for us as government, this is feedback. The feedback is that since 2017, Ghana has gone up about 3 points, and we have to continue our efforts aimed at going up consistently. For us, it's also evidence that the various interventions aimed at supporting the fight against corruption are bearing results. The president has said over and over again the kind of investments that have been made in anti-corruption institutions, creating new institutions, funding them better, ensuring that they are better resourced to do a better job. And if the data is that from 2017 to 2021, we have gone up 3 points, the charge to us is that one is feedback and 2, we have to continue on that path.
So for you, this is not a slight on the integrity of this government as far as
from
corruption is
2017 to 2021, we have gone up 3 points and we have to continue on that path.
Information Minister Kojo Ponkrumah will stay on corruption and its related issues, and a special report submitted to the Bank of Ghana by an audit firm has reviewed that defunct UT and Capital banks were in all terrible conditions than earlier reported by its management. The 2 institutions have liability totaling 4 billion cedis with assets pegged at just 1.6 million cedis. Joseph Akable is still with me in the studios. Joseph, let's start with Capital Bank. What were values of its assets initially and what's the latest?
Its management reported assets were worth 2.6 billion cedis, but this figure in a new report has been adjusted to 1.2. By way of its liabilities, a figure of 2.4 billion cedis was reported, but this has been adjusted upwards to 2.7 billion cedis. The audit firm also found that 65% of its total loans had been given to shareholders and remained outstanding.
Let's talk about UT Bank.
Initial report placed its asset at a value of 1.3 billion cedis. The latest audit placed the value at 437,421 cedis. Liability initially placed at 1.9 billion cedis has been adjusted up to 2 billion cedis.
Well, the special prosecutor says he's doing some work on
In fact, he says he has commenced investigations into the banking crisis and has called on the general public. If anyone has information on this matter, they should make it available to his office.
Okay, thank you very much, Joseph Akable. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We're also live on Kekeli Radio in Ho, ATL FM in Cape Coast, Radio Max in Takrade, Kaliawo FM in Akachi. Also live on your Spotify, my Joy9.com app, and also on Facebook. Our top stories: massive position to introduction of the controversial e-levy as government insists it will pass the bill with or without the support of the NDC minority. We've been to Parliament and seen the order paper, and it's not on it today. We'll get some explanation when Parliament starts the session today. And government is set to pilot a 6-year secondary education structure that mirrors the Cambridge system from next year. When we return, we have sports, and then we'll take you to Apieti in the Western region, where residents are still counting their loss, and tell you about a man who lost his 21-year-old son, a 10-bedroom house, and a hospitality business.
My new house is 10-bedroom self-contained.
10-bedroom?
Yeah, each room having its own washroom. I said to a lot of people that I wish I would have died. Yeah, because it wasn't easy for me at that particular moment.
We'll also tell you about the fund that has been put together.
On the instructions of the President of the Republic, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has decided to launch the Apieti Support Fund.
What brings you to my house this early morning? I hope all is well.
All is never well with me, Nikbakbo. After paying 3 times for the land for my project, the construction workers are now giving me wahala. From material overestimation to small stealing. I am tired.
I told you so, Efokoku.
It's all because you are trying to become builders when you're corporate workers and business people. Edlum has products tailored to meet your needs. Villas 3 at Amrahia, where there are finished homes. Conveniente, also at Amrahia, where it's contemporary but super affordable apartments. Prices start from $35,000. And the Avant-Garde, located in Adjurigano, which has sleek luxury apartments. For more information, please visit edlumhousing.com or simply call 0270-166-166. Edlum Housing, where spacious homes cost less.
Many thanks for your company here on the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. It's time for sports. Mutao, are we talking about Juju?
No, we are not talking about Gigi today. We are talking about
powder sprinkling. Okay, let's talk about more.
No, we are talking about support for President of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kreko, and it's coming from the President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amadio Penick, who says that Keto Kreko loves Ghana and he's doing his best to ensure that Ghana football reaches its apex.
I know Court loves Ghana. It loves to develop the game to the highest level. And I think it should be supported. You see, in life, you have your bad day and your good day. This is just one of the bad times of Ghana. They just qualified for among the 10 teams to go to the World Cup. It's not as against South Africa. You know, they did very, very well. So it's not just one bad moment that they will crucify him. Because if you keep doing that, you keep crucifying administrators. Court is somebody that's so loved by all his colleagues, A to Z. I never wanted to play Ghana because of Court.
Who is Court?
He's Keto Kreko.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a different person. Okay. All right.
He's referring to our president. And the CAF president, he'll be addressing the media in the next 10 minutes in relation to the stampede that claimed 8 lives and dozens injured in the match involving Cameroon and Comoros last night. We'll be hearing from the CAF president soon.
Speaking of disasters, let's go to Apieti in the Western region. And last Thursday's explosion killed his 21-year-old son, Justice Apia. It also destroyed his 10-bedroom house and his pub. That is the story of a 60-year-old miner, Joseph Apia, who says he had wished death upon himself after the explosion that devastated and wiped out his entire village. Maxwell Agbagba went to meet him and has come through with this report.
Hopefully, your mama promised.
I have met Joseph Apia, the new shelter where the displaced persons will be resettled. There's a meeting underway about 150 meters away from where we are standing. He says his 21-year-old son, Justice Appiah, had taken his mother and siblings to safety before moving close to the burning explosive van to take pictures.
My old house is closer to the road. I have so many things, drinking spot, rooms, and then the new house, store, and other stuff.
What kind of child was he? The community actually liked him. Like the whole community is mentioning his name, Suarez.
Yeah. He's free like they were.
Yeah.
He's free. That is why people keeps on mentioning his name.
Joseph Appiah says he lost his 10-bedroom house and a pub to the explosion.
And then my new house is 10-bedroom self-contained.
10-bedroom?
Yeah, each room having its own washroom.
10-bedroom house?
Yeah.
So that's been completely destroyed or what?
Destroyed. Wow. The grass, people came and then fixed the grasses. 3 days after this incident happened. Wow. I can surely send you all the pictures. Yeah. I said to a lot of people that I wish I would have died. Yeah, because it wasn't easy for me at that particular moment.
Yeah.
But currently I'm managing. Sunday, this morning,
Head pastor of the Dominion Miracle Center of Faith Church, Derek Eshen, says the church lost everything. He says Suarez is irreplaceable.
He wants to do things on his own. He drives one of these Okada, that's Pragya, as we call around. He's a guy that everyone loves here in this town. He's a very good guy. Whatever you tell him to do, he will do it and do it out of his heart. And he's a good guy. He's a very good guy. That is why everyone is talking about Suarez. And there's this guy too, Kofi Small Boy. We call him Oboy. He was also taking video at the incident and he also lost his life. He's also a good guy.
From Aircon, Median Casa, Solomon Angel. I am from King Solomon, but the whole Western region had the Ubo Aircon will be a bachelor. Yes.
An Apiatsi resident and taxi driver, popularly known as Aircon, says the community will never forget the generosity of Suarez. Meanwhile, more donations continue to pour in for the affected residents. Malcolm is hoping to bring some relief to the people. Here's a rep.
Malcolm, as a family, we felt the tragedy that have happened to Appiah to people. So we came to come and help and present something to them because it is our duty to do something to those people that are affected.
CEO of Engineers and Planners Ibrahim Mahama has promised to donate cement to help with the reconstruction efforts of the community. He donated 5,000 bags of rice, cooking oil, and 5,000 tins of mackerel. Here's a representative from his company.
That the Vice President of Ghana promised to rebuild the city. The CEO of Engineers and Planners and Jata Cement, in the person of Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, support assures the community that during the rebuilding stage, he is also going to support with cement from Jata Cement.
Well, that's Maxwell Agbagba's report. Well, the 2022 New Year School at the University of Ghana has been opened, and the President Akufo-Addo says he will not hide behind the COVID-19 pandemic to make excuses for the difficulties the Ghanaian economy is going through. Presidential Affairs Correspondent Elton Brobe is at the event. He joins us on the line. Okay, it looks like we've lost Elton Brobe there, but the President has also been describing criticism of his management of the economy as a political necessity by his opponent, and said COVID had devastated the impact on the economy in 2020 to 2021, resulting in a 25 billion cedi fiscal deficit after revenue had witnessed a 13% reduction. And that's how we end this afternoon's edition of the Midday News here on Joy99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. We have Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil. You want to stay for that? I am MFR Powell. Many thanks for your company. Have a good afternoon.
Business a bit so the projections from the first quarter show a higher total gross profit for the fiscal year.
Nana, goods not land you. He did the port right.
A bit
Here
are your items. Thank you for coming.
A bit
Yes, 2 for 10 cedi. Me no 10 cedi. 2 for 10 cedi.
We're just a bit me according and found business away. The beer will be your hussy about wow. MTN business made to enable your business stay ahead of the pack.